Hey, what's up, guys? Chris Flick here, Chris Flick Podcast, episode number 170. Man, I just called myself saying F this podcast because I can't figure out a way to wrap everything together here and put out these thoughts clear and concise. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to start spitting fire here and hopefully everything kind of comes together. So, this week I was reminded of a song. It's called One More Light by Linkin Park. Linkin Park, some of their music is good. Some of it I'm not a big fan of. But we cannot deny one thing. That lead singer that they had, Chester Bennington, he had some pipes on him, man, and he was able to emote and he was able to hit these notes that just made you feel. And there was a moment, they sang this song, One More Light, the day after Chris Cornell, another great singer, one of my all-time favorites, man. And just to give another story here, back in 2017, I'm coaching football at Silicon Valley, and I heard the athletic trainer, a guy that I didn't really talk to before. He's new, he didn't work with football, so we didn't really interact much. I hear him playing some audio slave in the back, and it was the day, right around the time Cornell died, man. I peeked in and I was like, man, I can't believe he died. And me and this dude, who I never really talked to, had a moment of bonding because we both love this one man's music. And I'm not one to get caught up with celebrity deaths, but this is one that, when Chris Cornell died, man, he took his own life and I felt it. It upset me. And then to see Linkin Park do a tribute on Jimmy Kimmel, One More Light's the song. It's his thing. Who cares if one more light goes out in a sky of a million stars? Who cares when someone's time runs out if a moment is all we are? Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. That's what he was saying. That's what Chester Bennington from Linkin Park was singing as a tribute to his friend. Then hindsight tells us 2 months later, Chester Bennington takes his own life. It's almost as if these words that he was singing, he was almost singing them to themselves, right? And there's one line in the song, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. All these guys, man, these two singers, they were known worldwide, right? They had all the album sales. They did the concerts. They had people eating out of their hands, right, at some of these shows. But yet they weren't able to conquer some of these internal demons that they had. And as I was preparing for this and thinking about this, I was reminded of a story that, it's like the third episode in a row, Stephen Pressfield's coming up. But in his book, Virtues of War, he shares a story about Alexander the Great. Remember, this is historical fiction, but anyway, you get the point. Alexander and his army are about to move. They're moving. They're conquering. They're he's trying to be the greatest ruler of all time, right? He's already exceeded his father's expectations, and he just keeps going. He wants more. He wants more. He wants more. And on their path, they come across four guys. These 4 guys happen to be naked. Apparently, back in the day, people used to meditate butt naked out in the sun. And these were called gymnosophists, we'll go with. Anyhow, 4 naked dudes meditating. They're like, hey guys, can you get out of the road? They're like, no thank you. We're going to finish our meditation here, and then we'll get up, maybe. Some words get exchanged. One man looks over at Alexander, and he says to the yogis, this man has conquered the world. What have you accomplished? The yogi looked up calmly and replied, I have conquered the need to conquer the world. This yogi found peace in his own life. This yogi was able to conquer and to slay those internal demons that we all have. All right? Alexander laughed with approval. He admired the naked wise man. Could I be any man in the world other than myself? He said, I would be this man. So what Alexander noticed is that he was a warrior. He was conquering external foes. And this man that he met, these naked dudes, they were also warriors, but they were conquering the internal foe, right? And Alexander respected that. Alexander admired that. He admired that these men were past that. He admired that these men were beyond this, these feelings of having to prove themselves, to prove their worth to others. They valued themselves, and they valued their role in the community, right? And they had peace in their life. Alexander looked. This man was a fighter when he was my age. He has taken the lessons he learned as a warrior, dueling external enemies, and is turning them to use now as he fights internal foes to achieve mastery over himself. I remember when I was a coach and I would get these feelings of these awful feelings of emotion, these competitive, you just get so mad at that coach across the sidelines. And I'm like, I got to this point where I was able to just kind of get over that, and it was beautiful. It was a valuable time. It was a certain progression, I think, that I took in maturing as an individual, where if you put in some time and you try to understand yourself and you try to understand some of your weaknesses, it's like, why would I be getting so mad about some high school football game? Or why would I get mad because that guy down the road is doing better than me? Or why should I care if that kid stops coming to train with me and goes to trains elsewhere, right? All these little things that are outside of your control. You can't let them You can't let them affect you. So we have to overcome the internal foe, right? We have to use the lessons that we acquired through that, like that warrior mentality that we had when I was in competition. You know, we're talking about, you know, courage and selflessness and loyalty and respect and, you know, love for your comrades and perseverance. All of those things you can learn from sports and athletics, right? All of those things people learn in the battlefield, like the story I shared, right? But now we have to take those lessons and we have to and slay the internal dragons that are in there. Slay those awful feelings, those demons that are inside all of us, right? You know, and this stuff is well written about. I mean, Marcus Aurelius, thousands of years ago, right? He wrote in his book Meditations, right? This book, he was literally the ruler of the world, basically, and you could see the self-doubt, and you could see in that writing, you could see where his struggles were. It's basically like a meditation for himself, right? And I think we all need to do that. All right, I think this world's going to be a better place. All right, and if you get some time, man, listen to that song, "One More Light" by Linkin Park, because you're going to start, in my mind anyway. These two guys were struggling, right? They had some demons and they couldn't overcome them. But there's some people out there that are going to have the time to overcome these demons. There's some people out there. If you're still here, you could still overcome those demons. You just got to put some work in on the inside, right? Take a good hard look in that mirror and try to become a better version of yourself, right? Try to find some love out there. You know, start taking care of your body first, and then from there you can start taking care of the relationships around you, like I previously talked about, and then from there you can start taking care of the self, right? But just start, man. Start with some action. Start with some activity. Let's get moving here. Let's get in the right direction. Let's fix this mental health stuff we got going on. Let's not have more stories like Chris Cornell. Let's not have more stories like Chester Bennington. Two beautiful you know, talents, right? Two wonderful talents, people that can make the whole world feel, right? They're gone, and they're never going to be able to do that again, right? Those lights are out. And like I said, man, beautiful song. Who cares if one more light goes out? Chester Bennington says, well, I do. Well, I do at the end, right? So let's be somebody that cares, all right? Not only about others, but let's be somebody that cares about ourselves too, right? Let's be somebody that cares about how we're doing on the inside, right? Let's put some time in on us. And then if we're better, then we're going to be able to express that to others. Chris Hook Podcast is available on Google, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. It's kind of everywhere, all right? Hope you guys like this one. Go to chrisflook.net. All my gym information is there. And you can subscribe to my newsletter that comes out every day at 7:30 a.m. Man, I feel like I just went on a sprint. Hopefully that makes sense. Peace, everybody.